Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic. We're going to take things a little bit out of order this evening because we have some counselors that have to attend another function in a short time. This time I'd like to take John Bowers. John, can you come up and tell us what issue you'd like us to start with?
I'd like to start with the Shawmut Street issue. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, we had a hearing many months ago, or at least several months ago, regarding Shawmut Street. And it was my understanding at that time that because of the traffic that would be coming across North Shore Road from the parking lot, working to beat that light at Revere Street, they would be coming through the neighborhood. Now onto Shawmut and then a right onto Sagamore. Now, I have a problem with that, and basically it's a public safety problem. There are children in that area that are constantly playing out on the street, whether they should be or not. That's the way kids are today. I was a kid once, I'm sure all of you were. There's a mini park there, and kids have a tendency to dart out of that park. And then you put the other equation into it. You have people rushing to get home, going across North Shore Road, onto Shawmut, taking a right up onto Sagamore, frustrated and anxious to get home. And those ingredients, I think, are the potential for a tragic accident down there. So as a result, there were signs put up that said, "Do not enter," and an arrow coming out. Now, the local business down there, I understand their frustration. I understand their concern. But this opening was never there before. And even if, as it is now, you can still not take a left-hand turn. It's posted by the Mass Highway Department. So about a month ago, those signs were taken down by someone. I'm a city councilor. And I wouldn't think of taking a sign down in this city without the authorization of the Traffic Commission of the Revere Police Department. They were put back up by your department, Mr. Goodwin. And I got a call today telling me that the signs are down again. And that's very frustrating to me. It shows that people are just trying to do things as they see fit. And that's something that doesn't work for me. Now, I understand the frustrations of the business owner. And one of the things I suggested to them initially was right turn only, left turn only onto North Shore Road, but leave the signs up, just to stop people from rushing to beat that light on Revere Street. I used to be able to take a left on Neponset Street where I live. I can't do that anymore. Do I have to go up to Revere Street? Like everybody else, and I have to take that left unless I come down Revere Street and take a right onto Sagamore. So I would ask that this committee maintain the status quo. Leave those signs up. Now, the owner of the property down there suggested one thing to me, and that was, could they take a right in the southbound lane onto Shawmut Street? I really wouldn't have a problem with that if that can be done. And I think to do that, the arrow would have to come down, but the do not enter signs, which are clearly visible from across the street, would remain up. So if this traffic commission, in its wisdom, can find a way to do that without taking down the signs that say do not enter, I could support that. But I cannot support cars coming through onto Shawmut Street, a heavily populated residential neighborhood, taking a right-hand turn onto Sagamore Street, speeding up the hill, particularly this time of the year when there are going to be kids out there playing. So I would ask that the Traffic Commission have those signs put back up. I would say to the owner of the property, apply to Mass Highway. You have a business, perhaps they might even give you, they have a curb cut there, but it just happens to be in the wrong place. They might give you an extended curb cut. I don't know. But that's not my jurisdiction, that's Mass Highway. But I am concerned about the public safety in that neighborhood, and I would ask this commission to act accordingly. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. What we have here is a request for a public hearing, so by the local business owner. At this time, if it's not of the opinion of the Traffic Commission nor the councilor, we're going to need a motion by somebody to put this to a public hearing. Now, my experience down there is being, I was the Ward 5 councilor down there as well. It's a very dangerous location. It's been made even more dangerous by the fact that they've cut off other avenues into that neighborhood. The Ponce Street, other streets have been cut off from coming across. The MBTA parking lot is directly across from Shawmut. If you take down those do not enter signs, the traffic's going to flow into that neighborhood. I don't see how you can just take down the one-way sign to take a right off of North Shore Road. Is not going to create all kinds of confusion, and once somebody takes that left, they're going to continue through the neighborhood. I think the only remedy here is to petition Mass Highway to see if they would give them a curb cut right on North Shore Road so they would not have to enter onto Shawmut Street. And then once they entered onto the property that the business is on, then logically they could come out of their property on Shawmut Street and then go back out onto North Shore Road. That wouldn't be much of a problem. So at this time, I leave it up to other members of the commission to have their input and see where this is going to go.
I agree with Councilor Powers. We did take this under consideration the last time we met prior to. What's going on? Yeah, we're still getting back. Yeah, so prior to the relocation of the driveway entrance to the northerly side of the MBTA parking lot, this commission did take this under consideration, and that's what we wanted to do to deter traffic from entering the neighborhood. I think it should remain that way, but in case I'm wrong, I thought we did have a public hearing on this, and that we voted to allow this to be a do not enter. But if we didn't, I know it was under discussion, and there was a motion to put the signs up. So I'll make a motion that we hold a public hearing to maintain a do not enter sign in that location.
All those in favor, all opposed, the ayes have it. We'll order this to a public hearing to maintain the status quo. As traffic commissioner, I would state at this time that under an emergency preamble that the signs will remain in place in the interest of public safety. And I just want to make a statement that this is the second time that these signs have been taken down. That is larceny, that is stealing, that's city-owned property. And if I find out who's doing this, and we just bought some cameras, I will put them up. If I do find out who's taking these signs down, putting the public in harm's way, I will prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to say that if they apply for a curb cut to Mass Highway, I will support them. It's a business, and
No
and
problem.
perhaps they
Yeah, I
should have a
agree.
curb cut from Mass Highway.
Yeah,
And I'll
I-
support them 100%. Thank you.
One point I'd like to make is on Sagamore, I believe that not only, you have the do not enter signs, but there's a double yellow line painted on the road as well, which would lead you to believe it's a two-way street, where in act, we should be removing the double yellow line if we're going to maintain the status quo.
Item number two, John, do you have something else? John, do you have something else you have?
I believe there was a request for on Wadsworth, 25 Wadsworth, a handicap sign.
Yep. Item number one is to amend Schedule 11 of Title 10, handicap person parking areas by inserting the following locations: 40-foot Oakwood Avenue, 20 Beach Road, and 25 Wadsworth Avenue. At this time, I'd like to ask Sergeant Zeno what his findings were.
44 Oakwood Avenue withdrew their application. 20 Beach Road needs a sign put up over there. And 25 Wadsworth has a driveway and a garage.
So by virtue of the fact that they have the driveway and the garage, they're not entitled to a handicap parking spot.
And unless the owner come up here with a reason as to why they need it, in addition to the garage.
Okay. Counsel.
In the event there are extenuating circumstances. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. First item we're dealing with is item number 2 on adding two 30-minute parking zones on Shirley Avenue between Thornton Street and Sumner Street. And the recommendation is from Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's at on Shirley Ave in front of 65 Shirley Ave with the Shirley Ave Variety, and also across the street at Casablanca. So we're putting in 6 spaces basically, and it's going to come up in a little while, but the reason is, right now, the city ordinance does not allow any street parking by livery vehicles or taxi cabs. So what's happening, all the people that are visiting the stores, the businesses, are getting tagged. If they're going in for a cup of coffee or to buy something in the Shirley Ave Variety, and they've been getting tagged because of that new ordinance, which under number 7 we'll be dealing with to change that, to adjust it and to allow it. So right now on number 2 is to establish 6 parking spaces on Shirley Ave between Thornton Street, and it's 30-minute parking only, from 8 to 8.
May I ask, Mr. Chairman, are there, what's there now, meters?
There's nothing there now. It's open parking. And the reason we're doing it from 8 to 8 is so the residents can still park there at night and have overnight parking. So we have several of the business owners here now, to show their support of this. And I know we had a meeting with the mayor in February regarding this issue, and he was supportive of it. He has seen all these items, and I thought he was going to be able to come up, but he must be tied up. But these next 4 are all dealing with parking issues to adjust to the Shirley Ave businesses.
Any other comments by the members of the commission?
if there are any opponents.
You want to hear from the residents, the business owners?
At this time, I'll take the proponent side of the hearing. Any proponents, people who are in favor of changing this parking regulation from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Saturday on Shirley Avenue at 65 Shirley Avenue Southerly and Shirley Ave Northerly from 6066. Council Morbido.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, I am in full support of this. A couple of months ago, a meeting was set up with the business people of Shirley Ave to address these issues that were very bothersome to them. And by getting together and coming up with a litany of ideas how we can resolve these issues, Iris pushed forward these motions, and I think this will better serve the businesses on Shirley Ave.
Any other people wishing to speak in favor of this proposal? People who are in favor?
Hello, this is Nabil. This is Nabil Ammar from Casablanca House of Pastry, 60 Shirley Ave. I own like that bakery. So my problem was like before, it was like the taxi driver and Shirley Ave and the delivery, they can't park in Shirley Ave. Maybe last year they changed the rules for that. So when they get there just for like cup of coffee or like croissant, they got like tickets. So I lose like, it's not just me, like a lot of business, and they lose a lot of business with them because we are closer to airports. So it's a lot of. So we talked with like I said like we can get like those 6 places for like 30 minutes, so they can get circulation. That's my concern for him. You're welcome.
Any other people wishing to speak in favor? Address for the record, please.
Meu nome é Lindonésio André, sou da Brasil Popular de Rivia, da Chile Avenue. I need support for parks, for everyday tickets. Não good.
Se quiser falar em português, pode também.
Porque eu estou levando muito tique todo dia.
I've been receiving lots of tickets every day,
E I need support.
and I need some support.
Good evening. My name is Kelly. I'm on 84 Shirley Ave, Kelly Beauty Salon. I am in favor to support the parking issue because it's been it's been crowded lately, and I am in favor. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak in favor?
Hi, my name is Bunsuin Sok. I'm from a Tomorrow Restaurant in 144 Shirley Ave. Today I come here, I want to support the owner parking because I believe they can have a lot of small business around Shirley Ave. Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Good afternoon, I'm Vani. I'm a resident of 44 Dehan Street, and I support this motion. And to kill a few birds with one stone, I support the rest of the motions that are being raised by Ira today.
Any other people wishing to speak in favor? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the hearing and open it up to opponents. Opponents, people who are opposed to this parking change on Shirley Ave. Seeing and hearing none, I will close that side of the hearing, open it up to members of the commission.
I'll make a motion to approve.
So you guys know, right now, there are 3 other spots on Shirley Avenue with the 15-minute parking. And the times are 9 to 6 on 2 of them, and 9 to 5 on the other one. So if we're gonna go 8 to 8 on this spot here, one of these spots is at 85, one's at 158, one's at 102, same area. Can we make the time the same period on all of them for enforcement purposes?
Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you, Sergeant. I would say if you're going to change them all to 30-minute parking and make them all 8 to 8.
We have an amendment from Sergeant Janino to change the other restricted parking areas from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Saturday. Correct? All those in favor?
Can I ask, where are those located?
85 Shirley Avenue, which is right across from what we're dealing with. There's a 15-minute spot, which is 9 to 6. The 15-minute can stay the same, it's just the enforcement I'd like to extend it to 8 to 8. The other two spots are 158 Shirley Avenue, which is 9 to 5. And then 102 Shirley Avenue, which is 9 to 6. I just want to make them all at 8 to 8.
So we're not going to change the time sequencing, we're just going to change the hours that it's in effect. What Sargentino is saying, he wants to leave the 15 minutes in place, just change the hours from 8 to 8, or would we include all of those to an additional 15-minute parking in those areas? Because right now they're restricted to 15. So we would have to change both in order to put the 30-minute parking. We can leave the 15-minute parking and just change the hours of operations. I think that, personally, myself, I think we should have a consistent policy that goes from 8 to 8, a half hour. So there's no, yeah, they're all the same. There's no problems. Because if you might be within 10 feet of one of those signs and somebody thinks they're okay, they're going to get a ticket. Okay, I agree. So, do you have a motion?
The only reason, you know, the 30-minute parking was suggested by Danny Ferrara, because when you go in for a cup of coffee, it takes
Yeah, it
longer.
takes more than 15 minutes, I understand.
And the mayor was the one that recommended, I recommended 8 to 6.
Right.
The mayor says make it to 8 to 8, so I went by the recommendation of the mayor, that's why. But if we're gonna change the other ones, I change them all to the expanded time and expanded.
I agree. Because if not, you're going to be tortured up here. I agree.
So if we want to, I guess
So
you have
the
to
motion
do
will
those
read
later on.
as follow, that the 15-minute parking restrictions on Shirley Ave that Sargentino has included in this motion will be increased to 30 minutes. The hours of operation will be between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Correct. All those in favor? Aye, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 3 is to amend Schedule 17, Title 10, an off-street parking meter in the following locations. It's Lot A on Shirley Ave, 2 Shirley Ave. The number of spaces are 10 and 6. Council Novoselsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, members of the commission. What we're doing here is, right now, there are, I think, 38 spaces, Chris, altogether. But on the books, there's only 10, let me say that. But even though there's 38 spaces down there, and there's been meters since we did Shirley Ave, but they never changed the meter numbers. What we want to do now is to try and, again, accommodate the business owners and some of the residents on Shirley Ave that don't have parking at all. So what we want to do is take 3/4 of the parking lot and make it permit parking, and leave one row along 157 Shirley Ave, near Anchor Tom Market, leave 6 meters there, so they can move in and out to take care of the business owner there. But have parking for the business owners for permit parking only, and we'll have some, which is gonna come up in another issue. But right now is to reduce the number of spaces from 10 down to 6. That's the bottom line here right now on this one.
Well, it's a prerequisite to putting permit parking for the residents in the parking, correct? Yeah. Give them so.
That's why everything's tied together, everything is here together to accommodate that.
Can you explain where this is, please, again? What's Lot A?
It's on Shirley Ave, the municipal lot next to 157 Shirley Ave, right across from 140 and 146, which is highly residential.
Yeah. It's right next to the old Shirley Shoe Outlet there.
Yes.
Council, is that going to leave enough parking for customers? Because what's going to happen is when those metered spots fill up, naturally somebody's going to pull into one of the permit spots, and then it's going to be an enforcement issue for us or for parking control. So to kind of avoid that, do you think that's going to be adequate?
Well, 2 things, may I say, Chief. Number one, there's plenty of metered parking on Shirley Ave itself, because that section of Shirley Ave, and the amount of income from the meters in the lot, you know, and speaking to the parking clerk, is very, very low. the usage and people that pay in there is almost nil.
You're right, my concern isn't so much the income as when you have somebody pulls into a permit spot because they can't find a metered spot, and then the permit holder comes down, and then we're gonna have calls for service for the police department with respect to a parking complaint over, permitted parking versus non-permitted parking. It's inevitable.
Right. Well, what we plan on doing, and I talked to the chairman on this, is make sure that the lot is properly signed and let everybody know at each space where there's an old meter now to put this as a permit parking only where the meter would have been. And in looking at the times and the usage of a typical weekday, 9 a.m., there's only 5 cars in that lot. On the right-hand side, if you look at the overview, at 10 o'clock, only 5 cars. 11 o'clock, 4 cars. 12 o'clock, 4 cars. 1 o'clock, 2 cars. So you're seeing that people are using it for the residents. Those are the resident cars. And they're going to work during the day, so that's why the numbers are decreasing. At 1 o'clock, there's only 2 cars in those locations. At 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, there were 3 cars. 4 o'clock, there's 5 cars. 5 o'clock, there's 7 cars, so now they're coming back to work. But, with the number of we're talking 23 metered permit spaces, there are enough to accommodate the residents and the business owners during that 3 hours that they'd be coming back at 5 o'clock. And then the business owners, we'd restrict their permit parking till 8, and then the residents can pull in there overnight and stay there till 8 in the morning. So that's our plan. So hopefully, you understand it and you can feel that we can accommodate everybody on it. I'm sure. We'll take one step at a time, Chief. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open up the proponents for this measure. Could everybody just raise their hand? Stephen, why don't you come to the microphone, because you can speak on behalf of the people, and then we'll just have a raising of the hand.
I'm getting my exercise tonight, huh? Yeah, I'm in favor of this motion. I think making that municipal lot permit parking will allow more room for customer parking on the streets, because right now I think a lot of the residents are just parking on the streets, and a lot of the business owners, and they just continuously keep putting in quarters. So I think this will really help out and allow customers to have easy access, easy walk-in access to the stores, especially if someone's handicapped, or it really helps out a lot in that sense.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay, could I have a raising of the hands for all the people out in the audience who are in favor of this? Okay. Seeing and hearing from all of you, I'm going to close that side of the hearing, open it up to opponents. Are there any people in the audience who wish to oppose this change in the ordinance? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close that side of the ordinance. The members of the commission, what is your wishes?
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye, the ayes have it, so approved. Go on to the second part of this motion, is part of Schedule 17 of Title 10 Off-Street Parking Meter Zone, to amend the schedule of Schedule 9A of Title 10 for the parking by permit only at said Lot A by making 23 spaces parking by permit only in the municipal parking lot located on Shirley Ave. Councilor Novoselsky.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. This is what we were just talking about, those other 23 spaces on the westerly side of the lot. So we'll take out all those meters and allow permit parking in there. And it was suggested that we put some guidelines on the permits. It's not on your package, but I can give it to the sergeant afterwards. But some of the guidelines was to allow businesses to get one permit, visitor permit, for the lot. So it'd be one visitor permit per business on Shirley Ave that could use the lot from 8 to 8. there'd be no overnight parking for business owners. And right now, the permit fee for visitor permits is $2.50 per year, and that's a standard around, that the clerk even charges some of the businesses that are parked, that are on the corners of permit parking spaces, and they give it for $2.50 for the year. And they'd only be allowed one card, one visitor permit per business. The other suggestion was, and this may be discussed, but it was requested that visitor permits for Shirley Ave residents be given out only for those people that live from Walnut Avenue down to North Shore Road, because they felt that above Walnut Ave, people have pretty well open parking up there, and they wouldn't walk all the way down to the parking lot to park if they lived or worked that far up. So they were talking from Walnut Ave down to North Shore Road to take care of those businesses and those residents, and that would pretty well be more than accommodating those folks in that parking lot. So those were some of the suggestions on the guidelines, so.
Thank you, Council. At this time, I'm going to open up this Saturday hearing to proponents, people who wish to speak in favor. Council Morabito. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually combined calendar item 3 and 4 last time when I spoke, so that might have been a little bit confusing when I was talking on calendar item 4. But as I mentioned earlier, this will be beneficial to the citizens of Shirley Ave and the business owners.
Thank you, Stephen. At this time, I'd ask the people in the audience who are in favor of this to please raise their hand that they're in favor of this parking change to allow the resident sticker parking. Seeing, hearing from the proponents, I'm going to close that side of the hearing and open it up to opponents. Is there anybody in the audience who would wish to come before the podium and speak in opposition to the change? Seeing, hearing none, I will close that and open it up to members of the commission. Members? Okay. I usually carry the ball, so I got to get the handoff here.
This would be generalized permit parking. You have it, don't you have it at the central lot? I don't know. If I may, the city gives out visitor permit parking to businesses all over the city when they have their business on a permit parking street. No, he does it for the businesses also. Yes. In a residential zone, if you're their business, right. I don't know, it's owned by the city, so it's, I don't know. And those visitor, you're not, Mr. Chairman, but, yeah. No, no. But if I may, Mr. Chairman, this is still a combined space, it's still for, it's still for permit parking.
And it makes sense what you want to do.
And he's already giving out, and the clerk is already giving out visitor permits to businesses to park in a residential zone. He's doing it right now, on the street, but it's a public is public. No. It's not a permit, it is not permanent parking. It's permitted parking, not permanent, if I may. Anybody can park there during the day. It could be business owners or residents. It's not restricted to business people. They will be allowed under the visitor guidelines to be able to park in a residential zone parking area.
Counselor, are you asking for it to be permitted parking just at night for residents?
No, 24 hours. And the businesses can park there during the day between 8 and 8 with a permit.
What if somebody is coming to visit to use one of the businesses?
If they don't have a visitor permit, they can't park there. They have to park at a meter.
But how's that?
Confusing, yeah.
That's different from what a municipal lot is supposed to be for. If I go there, I won't be able to park in the municipal lot,
Well, you will be in the 6 spots that we just allowed for meters.
but the other 2/3, I won't be allowed.
Not as a customer.
Well, not as a resident either, if I don't live there.
No, that's not true. A resident, still 24 hours for resident parkers.
Resident of that neighborhood.
Yes, and that, well, no, whoever is allowed within that guidelines. It's like I live on DeHone Street, I have permit parking. Only DeHone Street people could park on that street from 7 in the morning till noontime.
Understood. But I don't live in that area. If I want to go to a business and park in that lot, I can't.
No, you have to park at a meter on the street.
But it's a municipal lot. It's for parking for businesses.
We're changing it.
Okay, but that's what you were trying to do, is get it to be permitted for only residents or businesses, not outside people like myself.
That's correct. We're trying to accommodate the businesses and the local residents for a place to park, because right now, they don't have that.
Wouldn't that hurt some of the businesses if some of their patrons can't find somewhere to park?
I don't believe so. I don't believe they're not going to be able to not find a place to park. There is plenty of parking on Shirley Ave. You can go down Shirley Ave anytime between 8 in the morning and 6 at night and find a parking space at any particular time.
Couldn't some of the residents and business people park there if there's plenty of parking on the street?
No, then they have to pay meters.
Meters, right.
And they're getting tickets because they forget to go out after the 2 hours, and you can't park over 2 hours at a meter.
Even with a permit?
We're not talking permits at the meter. We're talking permits parking in the lot for
Right.
those 23 spots.
But if you have a permit and you park on the street at a meter, you get a ticket?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we may want to run this by the city solicitor to see. I mean, I agree with what you're doing in theory, but it's almost like the city's given deeded parking spaces away. I don't know if that's something we're legally able to do.
So I have a motion at this time to run this section.
Correct.
Do I have a second?
Second.
As far as item number 3, from the 10 meters to 6, did that pass? Was that approved? All right, so they're gonna remove the 20-something meters over there that don't belong to them? All right.
Well, now they get free parking. Yeah. That's right.
Item number 5 is the one that said with Title 10
Mr. Chairman, can we go to number 7? Sorry.
Item number 7 is to amend Title 10, Chapter 10-32, Section 10-32-160 of the revised ordinance of the City of Revere, business and taxis away from stops and stands by adding the following subsections to the end of the section. The owner or lessee of any bus, taxi, hackney, pupil, or liberty shall be allowed to park in metered parking spaces, provided such owner or lessee pays the parking meter and does not violate the time limit restrictions of the metered parking space. B, the owner or lessee of any bus, taxi, hackney, pupil, or livery shall be allowed to park in parking spaces designated as 15-minute parking or 30-minute parking, provided such owner or lessee does not violate the time restrictions of parking spaces designated as such. Councilor Lovasowski.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman and members. Right now, in our ordinances, there is no parking in any city street for taxis or livery vehicles or buses, that list that's there. There's nothing allowing people. So that's why we adjusted the ordinance several months ago through your help to stop it all the time over the sea. But what's happening is, again, when someone goes in for a cup of coffee, specifically at this gentleman's establishment, Casablanca, with a livery, they get tagged. Automatically, they get tagged. And there's nothing in the books that allows them to park at meters, whether or not they put money in the meter. Because I checked with the clerk on this, and they were telling me that there was nothing, and so they recommended that we added that paragraph in that would cover taxi cabs parking at meters, so they could put money in the meter legally and not get tagged. The other thing is for the new parking, timed parking areas, this would allow liveries and any of these vehicles to park there and go in for their cup of coffee, go in for their sandwich, and not get tagged. So I know it's loosening things up a little, but it's not like it was before where people were parking overnight and leaving their cars there all day or all night on our city streets, people from Boston. And I know Councilor Penter had put that in because, they were killing Beachmont and parking down there all hours of the day and, taking parking spaces away from the residents. Well, this particular area is still a mini business zone. And, and talking to the mayor and the parking clerk who was at the meeting also, we suggested to allow them to park at only a 50-minute zone, so then 15-minute or 30-minute zone, whichever is not consistent or will be consistent, to park there and not get threats of, get tagged, for those 15 minutes. It's not parking overnight or anything like that. That's still in effect. So it's just in the business zones that we're talking about putting these spaces for liveries. And granted, it's not only for Shirley Ave, this goes citywide. Because right now, if they go out to Broadway in a 15-minute zone, they can't park there.
I think we're going to need to specify in this that it excludes overnight parking, because
That's fine,
it
whatever
kind of
you
leaves
feel.
an open door here for us.
Yeah, that's fine, whatever you feel. That they still, well, the overnight thing is automatically on the overall ordinance.
Right, agreed, but once we loosen up on this, there's no provision to enforce the overnight. You follow me? I want to make sure it's specified here, that the overnight.
That's in the major part of the, 10.3.
Right, but once we loosen up on
This
this,
is
I
the
mean, I want to make
exceptions.
sure there is no
Yeah,
provision
you
for
can repeat
overnight.
it. You can repeat it. That wouldn't harm it. That'd still cover to allow them to park there in those time zones.
Yeah, the only concern I have with this, Ira, is that, we'll take, for instance, the 3 spots you're going to have on Shirley Ave. Well, we have 75 cabs that have medallions in the city. One goes out to do a fare, one comes back in, they want to park there. They're there 15 minutes, they're there 30 minutes. They can keep rotating in and out of that. They can almost use those spaces like a taxi stand if we don't notify these taxi companies that if this is what they we find is happening. We came here this evening because we wanted to help out the local businesses to do better. We can't allow the taxi companies to come there and start rotating in and out, using those spaces every 30 or every 15 minutes as their own taxi stand. That will just denote everything we just talked about goes out the window. So I think the taxi companies have to be put on notice that if their taxi drivers would like to go to these businesses, go into that area, have a cup of coffee, go to the place is fine. But if they're going to be going to these areas and rotating in and out of there on a constant basis, taking up those spaces, then it would be my intention and my inclination not to do this. If that is, if people are in favor of doing it this evening, I don't really have a problem with it. But if it becomes a problem, I think that we'd be, like Joe says, we'll be back here again, and we'd have to eliminate that process. So I think some type of notice from the Traffic Commission has to be drawn up and delivered to the companies that own the medallions within the city of Revere to denote that if this starts to happen, that we will take that away, and they'll have to go back to the present conditions that exist today, which gives them no leeway whatsoever.
Well, they'll still have to put money in the meter, they still allow that. The issue is mainly for the 15
But
minutes.
there's a lot of 15-minute parking spaces. We just created 6 on Shirley Ave for these
No, I
people.
understand that, sir.
That's what I'm concerned about. The meters, if they want to put the money in, and they leave, somebody else can park there, so
So if we, if it gets out of hand, and I agree with you.
Right.
That we would eliminate B.
Okay, very good.
If it came down to, if it got out of control and.
Okay.
I don't want to see it in a position where we're pushing customers out of these 30-minute parking zones for the purposes of a cab stand.
Right.
And Mr. Goodwin is correct in assuming that. I think that's, if we don't control it, that's what it's going to
Right,
be.
and several of the 15-minute zones that are there now, that will be 30, are in a in a metered area. So there are parking meters around there, so it wouldn't knock out a customer from coming in. And if the other ones were loaded, to move down to below Walnut Ave, move into a meter. But between Walnut and Sumner Street, there's no meters there, it's open parking. So they could pull.
So would it be prudent to exclude the taxis from the 15 and 30-minute parking areas and just allow them to use the meters? Then there'd be no problem.
What's preventing them to keep pumping the meter and just staying there?
Well, because they're going to take a fare and go when they're.
Well, they can only allow there to 2-hour parking. And the ladies that tag are very strict about that.
I mean, okay.
Just so you know. Currently, right now, we have over 200 livery cars in Revere.
That doesn't mean they're all gonna park down. Yeah. No.
No, but Council, as I said, my biggest concern is, are we doing this for the purpose of livery cars to park in this
Livery,
spot?
mainly livery.
Or for customers to be able to go in and have a cup of coffee?
No.
It's so the purpose of the ordinance is to accommodate livery cars.
For liveries that wanna go in for a cup of coffee, when they come back for a run from the airport,
Okay.
and they're friends with this gentleman, they wanna be able to go to his business, go in for a cup of coffee and a piece of pastry, and
It just seems like it's at the expense of the everyday customer.
right
You-
now.
you follow me?
Right now, sir, there are people that park there all day, and there's no restriction at all, so
Okay, so they need some sort of control.
it kinda opens it up.
Okay.
What I would say about this is, I think the intention is good, that we allow the businesses to thrive, give some parking, some relief to them, about people parking there all day, getting on the subway and doing the things we've been dealing with for 20 years. The fear I have is that if you open this up and you have multiple friends that are livery drivers, and within, a 2 or 3 block area of this location, we have meters, we've got 15-minute parking, 30-minute parking, that if this becomes a problem, that I will be right back here putting the motion in myself to eliminate that. Because we're not going to put something in place that's going to allow one entity to come in here, and because this type of motion only benefits them. It benefits nobody else. It doesn't it may benefit one particular business or another because the people are, going in there on a regular basis, but it's not gonna help you in your beauty salon. It's not gonna help the guy in the variety store. It's not gonna help the people that have other businesses. So if we put this in, and this becomes a problem where we get on Shirley Avenue and we have 15, 20 cars like Chris is alluding to, not only do we have 70 taxi cab medallions, but we also have another 200 livery cars. This could pose a problem in a small area. If that happens, I will be back up here to eliminate this, and we will put this back in for the protection of the neighborhood and the other businesses.
Mr. Chairman, if you wanted to eliminate taxi cabs from B, I wouldn't object to that. From the 30-minute parking, because taxi cabs can't park in normal spaces.
Counsel, the problem isn't the cabs. The guy wants to stop for a coffee break, he's just as entitled as everybody else, but when it becomes a point of running a cab stand, that's when we're gonna have issues. And I don't wanna have many suffer for the fuel.
Understood.
Mr. Chairman, is there a way that we can put some language into this to at least prevent that, or at least try? Because I think that just notifying those entities I don't think that's going to do the trick to get them not to use it as a cab stand. I think you need to have some other type of language that actually specifies that that's something that's not allowed. Because then I think undoubtedly you will be back here, next meeting, taking that right out again.
Yeah, that's my fear, Nick, because, there's 3 members here that sit on Site Plan Review Committee, and there's not a week that doesn't go by that we don't get 5, 6. Sometimes we've had many as 10 people coming in for additional livery services, and it's all about being able to park legally in a residential area within the city. And so they can work for Massport. And what they're doing is they're displacing our residents, they're displacing people who have businesses, and it becomes a problem because they're so numerous. And we are actually closer to the airport than Boston, where a lot of these, medallions were initially issued, the licenses were initially issued. The reason for the impact that we're having now is that Boston no longer allows them to park even in their commercial zones. They're not allowed to this, so it's transferring this way. Initially, that was the same reason for all the requests for livery licenses in the city to park on our city streets so they could work at Massport, because Massport was no longer licensing them because of the problems that were materializing in East Boston and other parts of downtown Boston area. So by them eliminating their problem, I don't want it to become our problem. And some of it has already raised its head, and this is why some of these regulations were put in effect by Council Penta to protect the residents that live in the city. And, so I think livery can be more of a problem than the taxi business by virtue of the numbers that they have. Because once you have any livery plate, Counselor, a taxi cab has a Revere medallion. Well, a livery can come from Chelsea, Revere, Boston. Livery is the livery plate. It doesn't identify where they're from, who they work for, where they're...
They're still not allowed in residential neighborhoods.
I understand that, but if you
If
allow
they do,
them...
they're doing it illegally. We're only giving them six parking spaces, basically, on Shirley Ave, to be able to go in and help this businessman.
Well, then again, it's one businessman, and that's what I don't want to help one at the expense of everybody else. That's my concern. I think there are other people in that area that need the parking as well. And if you want to do it on a trial basis to see how it works out, I don't have a problem with that. But if it does become a problem, we have to open up the public hearing first. We haven't. Ira, you done? So she can speak?
For this issue.
Yeah, okay.
I just want to talk to number 5.
Okay. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing for the people who are in favor of this proposal to change the ordinances related to taxi cabs and livery plates. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi,
my name is Rachel Mekaton, and I live at 823 Broadway in Chelsea. And I work at the Neighborhood Developers, a community organization, as the community engagement manager. And I spend a significant amount of my time during the day on Shirley Avenue. And I just want to say that there is an abundance of parking. Most of the people who visit the businesses on Shirley Avenue are walking from their homes. People in the neighborhood, and I've seen the statistics, own far fewer cars than people elsewhere in Revere and elsewhere in the greater Boston area. And the street is largely empty during the day, during the hours when we're proposing to make these changes and have these changes be effective. I also think the taxis visit multiple businesses. It's not just Casablanca. And yeah, I think, I don't know, I think that the changes, while they mainly benefit certain businesses in the neighborhood, that business that's generated several $100s a day from taxis, from sales to taxi drivers, is what they were seeing before the regulations were put in place this past fall. So of that revenue, a portion of that goes back to the city in terms of taxes. A portion of that goes to local employees at these businesses. And I think it's fair to taxi drivers to give them the ability to spend their money at Revere businesses in specified places. So I agree with changing the legislation to make sure that these spots aren't abused, but I do support the overall idea. So thank you.
Okay. Any other wishing in favor? Okay, seeing, hearing none, I'm going to close that side of the hearing and open it up to the opponents. Anybody wish to speak against it? Seeing, hearing none, I'm going to open it up to members of the commission.
It seems like there's a need in Shirley Avenue for this because of the frequency of visits, taxi cabs in those businesses. Is there a possibility we can limit this language just to the Shirley Avenue business district and not have it citywide? I'm just throwing this out there as a possibility. I just hate to see this happen all over the city if we just limit it to the Shirley Avenue area from, one location to the other, and that's when they're allowed to park and visit businesses.
The calls I've been getting, basically from the livery drivers, the main areas are Shirley Avenue and Broadway. Several businesses on Broadway also, they benefit from the drivers' livery services. Right down to the auto parts store down on Broadway. I've had several out-of-town taxi cabs pull up to the auto parts store, park out front, run in and run out again. See if you can explain that. I can see Broadway and Shirley Avenue.
Broadway and Shirley Avenue, if that's the case. The other commissioners agree.
My fear is there's a little bit of contradiction in some of the statements that were made where there's an abundance of parking. If there was an abundance of parking there, it wouldn't be here because people would be able to park. So I think we need to be a little vigilant about this because based on what I know has happened in Boston and East Boston, that this can be a real problem for the residents and for other businesses that these people don't utilize. It could be a windfall for one and a detriment to the other. So I think it's something we have to keep our eye on because it has been a problem elsewhere, and I don't think that we should just haphazardly say yes. I think there has to be some protections put in there for the other businesses and the residents as well. So if there's some language that we can put in here that would eliminate, going into the neighborhoods, because this is a general ordinance. This is not saying that you can limit it here and limit it here. This is a general ordinance that kind of encompasses the whole city.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, A would encompass the whole city because that allows taxi cabs to park at meters and put money in, which is right now non-existent. So they would, even if they parked at a meter, they would get tagged and put money in, they'd still get tagged. So A would be citywide anyways, and the city would be making money on that just on the use of the meter. But B, I think B is where everybody's kind of
Yes.
concerned about, and I agree with you. And I would say, you know, if you feel that you want to make it just a Shirley Ave district, business district, you know, which is from Thornton Street down to Orr Square, then there are 15-minute or 30-minute parking spaces all the way down there. So if you wanted to include that in there, but most of the delivery people that are using Shirley Ave now are using it above Walnut Ave.
All right, well, we're still gonna have 10 metered spaces in the municipal parking lot, correct?
6.
6. And that's,
Plus the street.
that's a half a block away, plus there's another 10 metered spaces within a half a block. What if we eliminated the B, which still allow that business to utilize the meters that are in close proximity to his business, and still allows them to use the additional 6 that would be in the municipal parking lot, so. And then leave A in effect for the businesses that are local for the 30-minute parking. And then he benefits by the regular resident that comes there that wants to just stop in for a coffee and a muffin. They can park in that 30-minute space without worrying about whether a taxi cab or a livery car is going to be taking that spot.
So where are you going to put the 30-minute parking?
The 30-minute parking is stay where it is. I'm just saying that the delivery and the cab companies would be relegated to just using parking metered areas as opposed to the 30-minute zones.
What I've seen, you know, it's like all of us, we want to park in front of our house. And when you want to go to a store, you want to park as close to the store as possible. And here's a case where you're talking maybe 200 to 300 feet for a livery to park in a metered space and walk back to any of the stores between Walnut and Thornton Street. Any of the stores. I'm not just talking for Casablanca.
As it stands now, they can't park there at all.
That's correct. So, you know, I would like to give it a shot. If you want to designate it just for the Shirley Ave area, if, you know, Shirley Ave between Thornton Street and Orr Square, I have no objections to that. But that's something that, I don't know how it would work in the ordinance when you write it up.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to say that I think that I agree with your comments that maybe we think about removing the Part B of that. And I just also want to say that I also agree with Mr. Stringy's comments with the concern of having this end up being citywide, so that maybe we can keep it limited to just Shirley Ave and, you know, possibly the Broadway district.
I'm kind of, you know, up in it. I want to see the businesses do well. I think we all do. I think we want to be user-friendly to the businesses, but, you know, how this goes into effect and what the outcome is going to be, maybe we can do this on a trial basis for 90 days, like we do with stop signs and other things, and if it doesn't pan out and it doesn't work out, it reverts back to the original ordinance. In 90 days from now, we can reconvene and see if it's working out. And if it is working out, we put it into effect. If it's not working out, we take it off the books.
Yeah. If I may, Mr. Chairman, if we do it, I'd like to do it for 6 months, first of all. Okay. Second of all, I would make it from 6 months from the time that the signs go up. Because if you started right away, I know your staff is
Well,
very low.
there shouldn't be a problem with the signs. We're eliminating the fact that anybody can park at a 30-minute, it's just livery
You gotta get them up there. You gotta
in
get
the
signs up
municipal
there.
parking lot.
No, I'm talking about the 30 minutes, there's no 30-minute
Well,
parking.
yeah, there's 6 spaces. We'll get them up.
Those are
in a minute.
meters.
Yeah.
That's not part of this issue.
You mean the 30-minute parking spaces on
30-minute
Shelley
parking
Ave?
spaces
Yeah,
on
that's not
Shelley
an
Ave.
issue, Bob. That'll
But
be.
I would
yeah,
make it from
no
the
problem.
time the signs go
I
up
don't have
and
a
make it
problem with
6
that.
months.
Yeah. I
And
don't
see
have a
how it
problem with
works
that.
out.
Yep, that's fine.
Because you're talking basically 4 signs.
Right. It's not a big issue.
So,
Counselor, you're talking about the signs that were spoken about in the previous?
yes, about the 30-minute parking.
The 30-minute can be, the
Okay.
30-minute parking.
But you're talking about the signs that we talked about in section 2?
For the parking lots?
No, the 30-minute spots from 65 Shirley Ave and 60.
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
So, so what we have is, Council Novoselsky is requesting that we not permanently change the ordinance, that we have a 6-month trial basis, and if there are no problems within that 6-month timeframe, we'll come back and we'll make it a permanent proposition.
Mr. Chairman, can I just ask a question? Counselor, why the 6 months as opposed to 90 days?
Well, again, by the time the signs get up, in my past experiences, and it happened up in Arlington Ave when we were going to do a 90-day one-way, and the signs never went up, and the 90 days expired. So
But what if it was 90 days from when the signs go up?
I don't know if you can get a good guide on 90 days. Because now we're here in May, so we're talking now and through November, rather than now just during the summertime.
Well, why don't we put it up to 6 months, and if it becomes a problem within that 6-month period, we can review it.
I agree, that's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Make a motion, we allow it up to 6 months. Let's see how it plays out.
Okay.
And we'll revisit, as the chief says, we'll be back.
Okay.
Broadway too?
Do you want to include Broadway in that?
Just for the record, there, in the past, there weren't that many problems on Broadway or on the Shirley Avenue area prior to this change. Since the change, the problem hit Broadway and hit Shirley Avenue, and I would say it hit it equally as far as the problems created. So I would recommend that we put Broadway and Shirley Avenue in there. You know,
On your recommendation,
Yeah.
I'd agree to that.
Okay. Broadway and Shirley Avenue, correct.
Wasn't a problem before.
So we're talking about item B on this, right?
Yes. Okay. So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye, the ayes have it. We'll be on a 6-month trial basis. If everything works okay, we'll
Thank you very
initiate
much.
it
I
permanently.
appreciate your
Okay.
support
Okay.
and you're working together with us.
Okay, so now we're back to item number 5, and this is to amend Schedule 8 of Title 10, parking restrictions generally by adding no parking to the following. The location is Hassey Street, the side is the northerly side, the length is the entire length, and it's from type parking to no parking anytime.
Thank you, Mr.
Councilor
Chairman.
Powell.
This was originally a motion by Councilor Hess. And I believe that his rationale was with regard to snow plowing. I don't anticipate any more snow coming. I would ask that, this is in Ward 5 also, I would ask that this be tabled until the next meeting so I can get a handle on exactly what the rationale, other than snow plowing, if there was any, and how the residents feel about it down there.
Okay. At this time, I'll make a motion to table. All those in favor? Ayes, the ayes have it.
Second, in favor.
Item number 6.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Did we do this one? No. Item number, item number 6 is to amend Schedule 8 of Title 10 parking restrictions generally by changing the following. This is, the location is the MBT right-of-way at the Central Fire Station, and the side is westerly from Park Avenue all the way through the rear of Central Fire Station rear. Then the type of parking requested is no parking anytime. At this time, proponents, seeing, hearing none, close that side of the hearing. Opponents, seeing, hearing none, I'll open this up to Sergeant Janino at this time.
This request came from myself and Chief Doherty to make it accessible for the fire apparatus with the construction going on.
I've spoken to Chief Doherty about this, and I think this should probably be on a permanent basis, because based on the amount of traffic that that school is going to generate, I think we need to give as much leeway to our public safety officers and the fire department to do their duty in a safe and efficient manner. And this just hinders their ability to do that. So I think this is a good motion, and it should be put forward on a permanent basis.
Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, this is for no parking whatsoever for anybody, anytime, correct?
Correct. Well, so I'll make that in the form of a motion. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Ayes, the ayes have it. We have one late motion. Did I miss something?
20 Beach Road?
Oh, yeah, okay. I missed number, on the request. On the request is, item number 1 is, request for handicap parking at the following locations: 679 Winthrop Avenue, 84 Fennel Street, 210 Prospect Ave, 133 Adams Street, 152 Park Ave, and 86 Waite Street. Sergeant Janino.
I'm requesting the other public hearing, with the exception of 84 Fennel Street. I went by there the other day. There were 2 unregistered cars parked in the driveway at that address. Until we can figure out what's going on there, I'd like to push the other ones to public hearing and deny Fennel Street at this time.
At this time, the motion is that 84 Fennel Street will be denied a handicap parking space, and 679 Winthrop Avenue, 210 Prospect Ave, 133 Adams Street, 152 Park Avenue, and 86 Waite Street will be moved to a public hearing. I'll make that in the form of a motion. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. The ayes have it. Back to item number 1, Sergeant Gino, on item number 1, Oakwood Avenue was withdrawn. 20 Beach Road was put on, they need it. Okay. So at this time, I make a motion that
We tabled 25 Wadsworth.
Wadsworth. So we need to vote on 20 Beach. Wadsworth is tabled. So we need to vote on Beach Road. So at this time, under the direction of Sergeant Danino, 20 Beach Road has been approved for a sign. That was the gentleman that was up here that had lives in the big apartment building. He has to walk a block and a half to get his parking space, right, Beachland?
Beach Road's down by the old Broadway Circle.
Okay, I got you.
There's a house over there that has no driveway, no
driveway,
nothing.
no
It's
okay.
kind of like locked in over there, and it could use the handicap.
At this time, I make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Approved, so voted. I have a late communication. It's a request that the Traffic Commission install stop signs at the intersection of Oakwood Avenue and Moretti Street, as well as Oakwood Avenue and Case Drive. I've received at my office and in the mayor's office numerous complaints of speeding has been reported on that street. I went down there with some residents yesterday morning and then yesterday afternoon at the close of school, and there was numerous cars coming down there at a high rate of speed. I think that if it's possible to have the police department install the radar speed board down there to survey Oakwood Avenue for the type of speeding that may be taking place before we have the public hearing in order to put these stop signs up.
We'll have the board there tomorrow morning for you.
Very good. Thank you, Councilor Janino. Well, listen, she's better looking than you. I can tell you. Do I have a second to this? All those in favor? Aye, the ayes have it. I apologize to your daughter. At this time, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye, the ayes have it. Thank you.